What is going on, everybody? We are back with some F1 news today, and we are doing things a little bit differently. I don't know if you guys have heard, but apparently Western Digital is having like a massive problem and a hack of their system. So usually when we record our videos, we transfer the videos to one another using a cloud drive, and we can't get access to it.
I can't get access to the drive that it's literally in front of me.
So we are going to give recording our kind of discussion on StreamYard a try, which is very different and new for us, but fingers crossed it works out.
But I'm still using my camera, if you guys notice.
Yes. Actually, I need to set up my nice camera for this because the webcams are great, but
it's not that crisp. It's not that crisp.
No.
Once I start using the camera, I can't go back.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I need to get one of those. Is it USB-C?
Yeah.
Our camera? Because Joe and I have the same camera.
Just the USB-C. Yeah. Just plug it straight into your computer.
Yeah, I could plug it directly into the computer without having to go through my my hub. Okay, that's nice.
But you have to hit the go to your setting on the camera and hit USB streaming before you plug the the USB. That's cool. All right, good to know. It's funny, we're bringing you guys on our little like house cleaning, organizing kind of background discussion here. But that was expected.
Yeah, it is what we're keeping it authentic here. If you guys are new here, definitely don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And really, we appreciate. We're trying to get the channel to grow to 1,000 subscribers. That's our big milestone that we're trying to hit right now. And without further ado, let's get into the news. Okay. So if you guys followed the race in Australia, both in terms of like qualifying and the actual race, we know that Sergio Perez was having problems, and he was complaining over team radio that he was having the same issue, like again in quali, and it seemed to be that those problems kind of persisted with him throughout the race
and the weekend.
And we're not entirely sure. It's not entirely clear what those problems were. If it was a transmission problem, if it was a braking problem, it's not entirely clear. But Helmut Marko, in usual Helmut Marko fashion, decided to strike out against his own driver. Team. Yeah, his own driver, right? Tell us a little bit about this, Joe.
I mean, he is just being like, as usual, saying Max has the same car, and you're just being, but literally he was just he was just saying Perez you're just being yourself, just trying to defend yourself or something like that, which is come on, it's not his fault, it's obviously the car.
Yeah.
And if the position swap, if the guy who says if Perez is Max Verstappen, what is Perez gonna say?
Right.
He's not gonna
exactly.
He's gonna be like holding his butt, like, oh, please don't say that to us. You are the hero. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, which is, come on.
It's
don't attack your own driver. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of a pattern for Helmut Marko. Yeah. And I just don't understand the value of attacking your own driver in the media, because he literally said that like Sergio Perez is creating his own problems.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, okay, the guy has been racing for how many years now? You don't think he knows how to identify and address a problem with the car?
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. And this is not the first time for Helmut Marko. Like I said, what was it? Last year in Saudi Arabia, right? Like there was the terror attack that wasn't that far away from the racetrack.
And then he attacked the race.
Yeah, and Sergio Perez said, "Oh, I'm not comfortable."
Yeah.
And Helmut Marko said, "Well, you should be used to this. You're from Mexico." Like, what the racist crap is that?
if I'm Perez, I will be so mad. Like,
oh yeah,
like even not gonna extend their contract with them. It's like it's like why? I am
like an abusive relationship.
Yeah, and I'm in your team. I'm your driver. The support that help Verstappen win. And then how come you're not supporting me? And how come you're not helping me? How come you're not defend? You know, like
you don't have his back. Ever. You know,
and again, if it's Verstappen, they wouldn't do that. 100% they wouldn't do that.
No, are you kidding?
No.
You know? No, they would kiss and pamper his butt and say, "Oh, how can we make you more comfortable? Please, Max." You know?
Let us know. Like, and they will do whatever we want, whatever we can to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, Red Bull is becoming Max's team, man. That's just how it is. Even
and it's such a weird thing.
Yeah, like the whole grid, like AlphaTauri, Red Bull. I mean, AlphaTauri is sister team of Red Bull.
Yeah,
it's also under Helmut Marko's inspection.
Yeah.
You know, they usually have. Not that good inspection.
Exactly. I never understood that. Like, okay, do that privately.
Yeah,
you know, like if that's your point of view, just yell at the guy privately. It's kind of like if you are in an office space, right, with like a company working on a public project. Let's say you're developing a game, right? And you're one of the lead developers for the game, and your boss comes out and says, "Oh, the delays are really his fault." Like, what's the point of singling out the person in the media and the news when it doesn't build towards something, you know, in the future?
It seems like only Helmut Marko, or I would even say or Christian Horner, has that perspective. Everything is not their fault. Everything is somebody else's fault.
Oh no, 100%. 100%. It's always the fault of, you know.
It's always somebody else's.
Yeah, as somebody other than them,
Max
or Verstappen. Yeah. No, Verstappen can do no wrong.
Yeah, so really, Red Bull is 3-man team.
It is.
That's what I'm looking at.
It does. It really feels that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Now, speaking of teams that really are much more of like a group dynamic, but also need some work, we have Mercedes in the news saying that they're going to take the time before the next race in, I believe it's Azerbaijan, right, at the end of the month, to do some, God, so long, right? But they are working on some new suspension developments for Azerbaijan to help with Lewis Hamilton feeling the disconnect with the car, right? Like, we previously know that Hamilton has been frustrated with the car, and he said that there was some disconnect with it. Part of the reason for that, and Joe will talk us through, you know, some of the other issues that Hamilton has mentioned, but one thing that he talked about was that now he's lacking a bit of downforce in the rear, and the rear feels almost like squirrely, you know. But what else was Hamilton complaining about with the?
He was complaining about he doesn't have the connection with the car, not like the connection that he had back in 2020 when he was a 7-time world champion. And that's a really big issue, because when a driver, any driver, like any driver. When the racing driver not connecting to their car, they don't they can't trust the car to give them maximum downforce, maximum grip. So that's really a big issue that Hamilton is having right now, and also a big issue for Mercedes to be fixed.
Yeah.
And also he feel like he was like the cockpit. He feel like he's sitting on top of the wheel, the front wheel, which is it kind of feels like a front heavy car. So when you have a front heavy car, then that means your rear is losing a grip, mechanical grip, which is it kind of makes sense in this way. So Mercedes is they are trying to develop and update their suspension unit, right, during this 4-week break. So we'll see how. I mean, they always say, oh, we got a lot of performance to be unlocked, and then there's a potential in the car for 2 years already, and we haven't seen that much potential, that much performance.
Exactly.
And I don't know if it's. I mean, you can say that, okay, they have Australia last Melbourne, Albert Park, they won. Yeah. They have P2. They have Sao Paulo last season where George had P1. But I don't know if it's track specific or there's the actual performance that is coming out from the cars, which time will tell, because we're going on to Azerbaijan, which is going to be very, very different. It's high speed track. Yes. So it's high speed and heavy braking track, which is all 90-degree turns. So we'll see how things go, and I don't know, man. I wouldn't be so optimistic.
No, I'm not optimistic at all myself. I mean, definitely props to Hamilton for achieving what he's been achieving with those shortcomings. Yeah. Right? It was
17th season. Yeah. 17 wins on podium, which is remarkable.
It is. It really is. And I think it gets lost in translation a little bit, the significance of being able to drive a car that you don't feel connected to, right? I really wish that there was a way for people to understand it. It's a very scary thing to try and do at the limit.
Yeah, and and granted, they are always at the limit. When they are racing a Formula One car, the fastest car in the world right now, on track with 20 people on track, they are racing to the limit. And if you don't have the trust on the car, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
It's incredibly dangerous, and it's incredibly important that they really resolve these issues, because imagine, because an F1 car is not small. It's not tiny by any means. It's actually quite a long vehicle. Yeah. And if you're feeling up, you're sitting all the way up here, and then the rear end is light. This is a lot of mass to rotate, And
it's a rear-wheel drive car.
Exactly.
Which is very. I would. No,
I wouldn't want to drive it. I'll be honest. I wouldn't want it. I had enough of I have by no means near a similar experience to kind of correlate this to, but the closest thing that I could give as an example, right, was back when I was young. My car broke down, so my dad gave me his car, and he got himself a new one. The car that he gave me was an old Lincoln Continental, a Lincoln Town Car, sorry. The thing is 17 feet long, okay? So we're talking, this thing is over 5 meters in overall length, super long car, right? And you sit fairly far forward, and it has a V8 engine in the front. So all the weight is in the front half of the car. And I remember trying to drive that thing in the snow with really worn tires. and this thing would just like a boat just want to rotate and spin like all over the place. And I couldn't imagine having that experience in a high performance
1,000 horsepower.
Right.
Exactly. Car.
I mean, it was fun.
The engine is not heavy. So, which is even more like there's no grip. I mean, of course, we want the engine to be light as light as possible. But when you're having some weight in the back, it actually help you on the grip.
Yeah. So exactly. So I don't know, man. Like that is the closest analog that I have to that experience. And it was fun in the snow. Like me and my buddies would go to the parking lot and do donuts in the snow.
Well, you don't want to do that in Formula One car.
No, like I never want to race with something like that. Are you kidding me?
But I mean, I don't know if they are gonna bring. And they also say they are gonna bring some aerodynamic change on the car.
They've been saying that, but I don't know.
I feel like when it's not as simple as just changing the suspension to fix the feeling of the car. It's from the ground up, like what Hamilton was saying before. We need to redesign the whole concept of the car from underbody, wind what is that called? Ground effect, diffusers, side pods, everything. So, and even the sitting position of the car.
Realistically speaking, I mean, the current word is that we really won't see any of the aero upgrades before Imola. You know, but again, the backdrop to all of this is the cost cap. You know, but Joe and I have held the opinion that, like, you know, okay, if Red Bull can, you know, blast through the cost cap, why can't Mercedes?
I mean,
better to take the slap on the wrist than the fine.
And if you look at Red Bull, they go over budget cap, cost cap last season.
Yeah.
Look at what they have right now. It's insane.
Right.
And that platform, the RB, what is it? RB 16? 19. That platform can go a long way. It can go for a few years, and nobody is gonna catch them.
Exactly.
So, from a perspective of cost and performance, I would take cost.
Absolutely.
I would take performance, actually. Just spend more, get the performance right, get the platform right, and just move from there. A good platform can bring you to so long.
Yeah. Now, speaking of all this stuff, we have, and this is where this correlates to the next story, right? That really nailing down the balance of the car from an aerodynamic perspective is really massive. And we have reporting here from Autosport and actually as well as motorsport.com that both Red Bull and Alfa Romeo Red Bull already debuted this new wing in Australia. And as you can see here, it is quite different than the wing packages that they had before.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a bit more what's called cord through the upper wing section. We're seeing more of a dramatic angle to the outboard, like vertical wing element. And all of this has been to gain some additional downforce and balance to the car. Now, the amount of information is a little bit less available for the Alfa Romeo, but they seem to be thinking along the same lines of doing wing upgrades in order to improve the balance of the car under these new regulations. So while Mercedes is certainly struggling with balance of the car, I think all of the teams are looking for ways to currently optimize the setups under these new regulations. You know, even though Red Bull is so dominant, there still is opportunity to unlock more, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, like I say, man, that cost cap thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's only for hospitality. I think there is something that goes even more deeper for performance. And if they can still develop on the cost cap right now at this point that they already have been go over, which means it's they got a lot of money in their hand to spend to penalties.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like I'm not one who's prone to like conspiracy theories, but there's definitely no question that Red Bull likes to bend the rules as much as possible. And Christian Horner definitely seems like the type to break the rules and then ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
You know, he's that person. He's not going to do the right thing from the outset. He's going to see how far he can get away with things, and then when he crosses the line, he'll say, "Oh, sorry, we didn't know, we didn't realize."
That suits him perfectly,
right? That's very much his character. Which I don't necessarily agree with from like an ethical standpoint, but from like a high level competitive standpoint, it's also admittedly not a bad attitude.
It's not a bad strategy, to be honest with you.
Right.
It's not a bad strategy for, especially if you are team principal, you are leading the team.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It's not a bad strategy to sometimes just go out and then apologize later. And I feel like that's what Mercedes need to do right now.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
They are too that's naive.
No, I won't say they're naive. They're just they bring to a little too much of the Germanic culture.
Yeah, I was gonna say the German culture of
just let's do things right. Let's do things in this very organized, meticulous, fashion. Which is admittedly one of the most beautiful things about like German culture, right? But at the same time, if your competitor is playing dirty, then it puts you at a disadvantage.
Yeah, you need to play dirty too. It's like you know, it's on the same boat. That's more fair.
Or not. Maybe dirty is the wrong way of putting it, but maybe if your competitor is more cutthroat than you are, then it would serve you to be cutthroat as well. You know, and that seems to be kind of what's missing a little bit from the Mercedes culture right now. Is while they are a very strong team, like personality and uniformity wise, they are missing a little bit of those teeth that they need. You know.
Sure.
Now, to kind of round out the news today, we have a bit of a rumor piece going around now saying that with Sergio Perez's contract being up in 2024, that there may be a potential for Red Bull to pull up Yuki Tsunoda, you know, to be a number 2 to Verstappen. What are your thoughts on this, Joe? Because I definitely have an opinion.
I don't think it will work, man. I don't think it will work because Max is such a aggressive driver, and Yuki himself is he has bad emotion sometimes in the car. I mean, of course, we haven't seen that kind of stuff this season yet, but last season, it
was a real issue for him.
Yeah. And if Max and Yuki go along, it's gonna be fire inside Red Bull. So I don't think it will work, to be honest.
So my perspective is, number one, what you just said, I think is a massive factor, right? And the only person who will get burned by that is Yuki himself.
Yep.
Right? Because Helmut Marko, Christian Horner will go on the attack against him. You know, even within their own team, right? Just
Checo Perez.
Exactly. Just like they do with Checo. 100%. Yep. It'll be like, oh, Yuki's the problem. Yuki's the problem, not Max, right? Not Verstappen. 2, the reason I don't think it'll happen is because I don't see Yuki performing at a level commensurate with the standard for Red Bull. Yeah. Let's be honest, the only people on the grid that right now Red Bull would potentially have interest in, right? Let's take Max out of the equation. Their standard for recruiting a driver is generally so very high that they would only go for Hamilton, right? They would go for
even Alonso, I would say.
Maybe Alonso.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then who else
Charles
was I
Leclerc.
just thinking? No, not Leclerc. Sainz.
Carlos Sainz. Yeah, you're right.
Sainz has been far more consistent than Leclerc. Leclerc shows promise, but he is not. He has made so many unforced errors, right? So even if you take Max completely out of the equation and you say Red Bull is looking for a new number 1, right? There's maybe 3 drivers, maybe 4 on the entire grid that they would even potentially scout.
They always like to look for a driver that has experience, not potentially to win the race, but experience as a team player.
Yeah.
That's what Checo comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And when they do, remember when Albon was in the team?
Right.
He can't keep up with
he couldn't keep up with it. Yeah.
They have so much promise on him, saying, "Oh, he's the next number 2 for Red Bull," but then after a season,
he wasn't performing. So they knocked him down.
And also Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
Right. After a season, not even a whole season, he went back to AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, which is AlphaTauri today.
Yeah.
So
I definitely don't think Yuki Tsunoda even remotely comes close.
He's not remember we were saying Hamilton, Alonso, who else?
Yeah.
Carlos
Sainz.
It's in the same group of mentality.
Yeah.
And Charles Leclerc, Max is in the same group of mentality.
Yeah.
Yuki is not even in these 2 group.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
It's not even. I mean, I hate to say it. I don't want to point fingers on him because he is so new. He's key.
Yeah.
Formula One. He still have a long way to go.
He does. Just personality-wise, race discipline. Actually, you know who I would think if they really wanted to pull somebody from the lower ranks that isn't like Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, or Hamilton. You know who I would scout as a potential?
Guan Yu,
yeah, 100%. Look at his performance since he's been in the race.
He's been in shape for last season and this season so far.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, really, think about it.
The thing is, Red Bull. It's so weird that Red Bull did it. Red Bull only recruit the sister team, Red Bull Academy.
Yeah.
But then they have Perez in their team.
Right.
Which they break the rules by themselves.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, right? Like, Zoe has been a consistent performer since he has come onto the scene, right? Since he's been on the grid, right?
He has kept Bottas.
He's outperforming Bottas. He keeps his head down. He doesn't make any big splashes, and he has been solidly improving and consistently improving his game since he got introduced. Yeah. I don't think you can honestly say that for any other newcomer on the grid right now.
This is his second year.
Exactly.
Only his second year, and he's
Exactly.
constantly performing. I mean, not like highest level, but constantly
Yes.
decent.
Exactly. No, if there is a guy that I would bet on being at the very least a high level number 2 in his future, it would be him. I don't know if he has championship like winning potential, right? I haven't seen it yet. It's only his second year, right? Like think about how many years has Verstappen been racing before he won his first championship. How many years Hamilton was racing before his first championship, etc., right? But if there is any guy that I am interested in tracking his career over the next, let's say, 5 years, it's him. It's absolutely him. Him and Sainz. You know, Sainz has been showing a lot of discipline, a lot of like performance under pressure that seems to be breaking Leclerc.
Which is so sad because Leclerc he's their number 1 driver.
Yeah, he's supposed to be their great white hope.
But like you guys saw on Albert Park,
yeah,
they even finished the race. He got
exactly.
spun. I mean, it's not his fault, but again,
but he makes a lot of unforced errors.
Yeah. He makes too much error, which is very bad for Formula 1 drivers.
For the level that he's at, yeah, absolutely. And you can't just blame the Ferrari for it. You really can't, because like we were saying, between or the same criticism that Red Bull will have for Checo versus Verstappen, Sainz and Leclerc have the same car as well. So okay, if it's a fundamental problem with the car, then why is Sainz having such a significantly different level of performance?
It's just I feel like it's just the consistency of Leclerc is not up to the level.
It's not there at all. Yeah. It's definitely not.
Even some qualifying section is not consistent. Sometimes you will get P1. The other day he will drop down to P7, P5,
right.
P2,
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that's he do have a lot of P1 provisional pole last season. So
sure. Yeah. But again, I don't. But that was in an era where like Ferrari was at least doing somewhat well. It doesn't look like Ferrari's caught their footing yet this season.
I hate to say it, Ferrari looks like they're going backwards again.
It does, dude. And I said it last season. Like, getting rid of Mattia Binotto was not necessarily a smart move. Yeah, after one season, you get rid of the principal. Like, come on. Who can turn things around in one season? Like,
I mean, I don't know if he's only there for 1 season or 2 seasons, but again,
no.
2 seasons is still short.
He was if I'm not mistaken, he was only there for 1 season. Which is crazy.
I mean, even if he's there for 2 seasons is still really short.
It's true. Yeah. I agree with you there. I absolutely agree with you there. So yeah, just to round it out, I don't see any validity to this rumor of Yuki Tsunoda being pulled up through the ranks to be a replacement for Perez. Like, the performance is not there, the personality is not there, the race discipline is not there. Like, it's just don't buy it. Don't buy it at all.
But again, Checo's contract is ending
2024, yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe they'll probably, Alonso maybe.
Then that would be a real fight
problem
between Verstappen and Alonso.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see if Alonso stays racing that long, too. I mean, I know he said he wants to continue racing, but the question is how long,
He's like 40 years old.
Excuse me. So,
40 years
anyways, guys, I think that's a good rundown of the news. Finally, we have some news elements to talk about this week. Fingers crossed we've got some news next week to share with you guys.
We have to wait we have to wait for 4 weeks before next race, which is really hard for us.
Yes, it is. It's very difficult, but we are working on some new ideas for content. So make sure you definitely subscribe, turn on notifications, and
Follow
yes, definitely follow us.
Leave the comment if you have any questions.
Absolutely, and don't forget to catch up with us on our live broadcast immediately after every single race this season. All right, you guys. Peace.